And let's chill. All right, so let's start with our feet. Ball, start my timer. Okay, so we're just gonna roll each foot for about 2 minutes, okay? So I think everybody here has taken my class enough before that I'm just gonna tell you here, for 2 minutes I want you to roll. I want you to do a little polka dotting, right? And I want you to roll some more. I want you to find all 3 zones. And we're gonna stay on this foot for 2 minutes, okay? And then we'll switch feet. So do any combination of those moves that you need to do, okay? This is about you, it's about what you need, okay? And I want you to focus on your breath, okay? So I really want you to just take the time to kind of feel what's going on in your foot without me, the direction of me telling you where to go, what to do, right? Just feel what you need. You've done it enough now that you should almost kind of automatically know what feels good, right? What makes it change for you? Might not be the same for me or somebody else, right? Maybe a little side to side, a little massaging of that ball of the foot. And I'll throw this one in here too. We're just kind of stepping on the ball, using your other foot just to kind of massage the top, right? Whether it's strokes or a little twisty motion. Got 30 more seconds on this foot. I want you to think about your breath, right? Remember our 360 breath. We want it to be not just in the belly, but through that rib cage, front to back, side to side, into that low back. So you can get that breath to go into your low back as well. Good. Okay, so 2 minutes is up. Go ahead and switch to the other side. And I'm just going to start, right? I already counted time down, 2 minutes here. But anytime through this, you feel like, hey, there's not much going on this side, go back to the first, right? Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Polka dot, right? That's our pin and stretch. Pin the trigger point, stretch by moving the feet and the toes. Rolling, right? We want to work on the mobility of that ankle. We want mobility in the hip and the ankle. We want stability in the knee. Good. Just about 1 minute left. So do what you need to on this side. Right. Over that top of the foot. That feels good to you. Really get as much toe movement as you can. About 30 seconds left. Good. All right. So shake those out. All right. I think everybody taking my class enough times that you realize the benefits of rolling the feet. Just do a few one leg stands so you can really feel the activation there. And what we're going to do next, just move the ball to the side. We're just going to stretch the feet. Okay, so you can certainly do this into your wall. I'm just going to do it for the view here, but I encourage you to put hands on the wall here. So my back foot, I've got bottoms of the toes down to the floor. I've got my heel reaching up. So remember, active stretch, toes down, heel up. So like I'm going to take off running. I'm going to stop right here, right as if I'm just going to leave the floor. Here, hold. Big inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And inhale, exhale. Good, we're gonna flip the foot. So now tops of the toes down, front of the ankle forward. So imagine if I was gonna kick something and my toes got stuck on the floor, kicking that hip forward. Maybe a little stretch here in that hip flexor, maybe even this core space here. Good, just switch sides. So shake out that foot a little bit. Switch sides. So bottom of the foot first. Remember, toes down, heel up. Take our front end and hold. Hold, 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 hold. Hip presses forward. Go ahead, flip it over, top of the toes into the mat, front of the ankle forward, and kick. One more breath. Good, shake out that leg. All right, we're gonna use a wall in the ball. I'm gonna put this up a little bit. You can see me. I'm gonna start on the quad, right? So remember, our IT band is kind of our marker here. We don't wanna be on the band, but we wanna be in front or behind. We're gonna focus on the front, the quadricep, right? Just to the front of that IT band. I'm gonna put mine right in the middle, right? So we kind of wanna go from mid-thigh up. We don't wanna go really down towards that knee because that's where it becomes just basically that IT band down there. We wanna hit the muscle, right? The muscle itself. So I'm targeting right out here in this space. And I can do a little here, right? And that ball's just kind of going boop, boop, boop here, okay? I could do a little front to back and have the ball come this way, a little cross friction. Doesn't feel as good for me, but find what works. Big inhale and exhale, right? So I started out kind of right above the midline here of my quad, right? Big inhales and exhales. Now I'm gonna move it up. So if I took the midline of my quad and my ball and socket joint, I'm gonna find kind of right underneath that ball and socket joint. I'm gonna put it right there and same thing, right? So I'm gonna do a little front and back, right? A little up, down. Now if we find tightness in here, right? Just like when we do in the hip. That tightness, if you have tightness in the hip, can go all the way down to that knee. So if you find a really, really tight spot, I've got one right here. Oof, I can feel it. I'm going to still try to pin and stretch here. So I've got a pin, and I'm going to try to stretch. And think about that stretch coming from this point all the way up. Maybe I grab that wrist, give it a little extra pull, and I can start to feel this whole side kind of loosen up, lengthen. Good. All right, go ahead and switch. So again, we're going to start from, if you did that vertical line, midline, you're going to put it in front. And if you took the horizontal midline, you're going to put it right there, right? I'm going to show, I don't know if this angle is quite as, I guess it'll work. All right, so I'm going to go down and up, little front to back. Right? And again, go between the two sides however you need to, right? And again, if you find a tight spot, press and hold. Maybe, just maybe, if you press and hold, you could try moving at the knee, right? Remember, we want to move at the joint above or below wherever that trigger point is. So I'm leaning into the wall. I got my full body weight in the wall, and I'm just bending at the knee. Good. Now I'm going to move it up. Okay, so this is my ball and socket joint. I can feel it. It's kind of right below that space. And I'm going to find it in there. Rolling front to back, a little down and up. Again, tight spot in here. I'm going to press and hold. I'm going to climb up, reach out, extend. And I'm kind of tugging that top arm over the top. And I'm actively, right? It's going to be active. I'm going to actively push my hips into the wall. All right. So let's move it up. Hips, lower glutes first. So find that glute max. Put it right in there. I'm going to start with a little horizontal. Hip to tailbone, right? Rolling into out. And again, I'm in that lower glute space. So think about the medius part of your bum here, right? That's what we want to target. And in here, you might find, right, the back side of that ball and socket joint. So if this is your ball and socket joint, you're going to take that ball and just kind of massage all around it. We don't want to roll right on it. But can you massage around it? Get that ball to just kind of nuzzle up against those, against that bone, right? Finding lots of muscles that crisscross and connect in this space. Good. All right, when you're ready, same thing on the other side, right? Lower glute. Right, go, please, 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 go between the two sides, however you need. Right, got just about a minute left in this lower glute space, so give your body what it needs. I've got a knot on this side, so I'm going to spend most of my time here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. All right, so next, finding your bony, right? Back of your pelvis, your iliac crest, find it there with your thumb. You're gonna put the ball right below it, right? So this is my spine. I'm not gonna put it on my spine, but this is my iliac crest. I'm just gonna nuzzle it right below the top rim of my pelvis, right? So if this was my iliac crest, the ball is right here, and just doing this movement, right? So it's pretty much on the back side here. We're going to do the back side first, and then we'll move over here to the side. Okay. So just along the back side, and just letting that ball do that horizontal. You can move it down just a little bit, so now you're in that space. You'll get a little bit of both glute med and glute max, right? So you can lower it just a touch. Whew, I got a tight spot in there. All right, switch sides whenever you need. I'm going to do about one more minute here on this high glute space. Again, just kind of nuzzling up against the rim there. Moving it a little bit lower. Right. And we're staying on the back side of the body here. You might kind of feel that tailbone and then take it out to the outside. So you're kind of going between the tailbone and the ball and socket joint. You should feel those bony landmarks there. Right, just about 15 more seconds. All right, so now we're going to find the side, right, of your iliac crest. So you take your thumb and forefinger and go down from your rib cage. It gets soft there, and then boom, that's what you should find right there, the ridge of your pelvis, or the top rim on the side. I'm going to put the ball, so if I put my hand here, I can feel that rim. I'm going to put the ball right underneath my hand, right, and find that spot. So now we're on the side of the body. Before we were on the back side, now we're right here on the side of the body. Right? Lots of little muscles that, again, crisscross into this space. And just move front to back, side to side, just wiggle around. Right? See if you can find any tight spots. If you find one, pin. As we talked about, stretch. So I really want to lengthen first. I want to lengthen up. And as I go over the top, I'm just going to continue to lengthen. I'm not just collapsing. I'm not also not collapsing on this side as well. I'm lengthening and reaching as I pin and stretch here. Now, I showed you before, you could do a little double here. You can get that knee moving as well. Good. And same thing on the other side. Right. So I'm right. Here's my rib cage. Here's the top of my pelvis. Put the ball right in there. Right. Go side to side. Pull up, down. Not how much going on the side, so I'm probably going to switch back because I like to see. It's easier for me to see from this angle as well. So just do what you need to. Just about another minute here. We're on that side, not on the ball and socket joint, either above it, below it, behind it, in front of it. All right. So putting the ball down for just a sec. We're going to target stretching in this space, okay? So I have a wall here. You're welcome to use the door frame. Might work a little bit better, right? But you're going to line yourself up against the wall of the door frame. Your leg that's closest to your wall is going to be here. It's going to be behind, okay? The other one's going to cross over. So I'm making an X with my legs, okay? But I want active, right? So I'm going to think about those inner thighs kind of squeezing together. So I'm going to take my arms over the top here, put both hands on the door frame or the wall, and I'm going to think about sending that hip away. So I'm getting a nice stretch here. So I'm also not only thinking about sending my hip out, I'm thinking about sending it forward just a touch. And what do I do there? Kind of squeeze my glutes, tuck my tailbone, press forward. Good. Now let's do the opposite. Okay. You're just going to switch your legs, still squeeze together. Now we're going a little bit deeper. Still that same side stretch. We're going a little bit deeper here. I can stick that hip out just a little bit more. Good. All right, let's switch. Okay. So inside leg is behind. Legs squeeze together. Right. We're going to go out. Reaching for the door frame or the wall as the hip goes in the opposite direction. Inner thighs squeeze together, and remember we want to kind of throw that hip forward on the diagonal. And let's switch, just bring that back leg behind. This allows you to get a little bit deeper into that stretch. So if you felt a lot of stretch the first way, you don't need to go here. If you want to go a little bit deeper, switch the position of your legs and just kind of stick that hip out. And keep that lengthening down the outside here. So you want to lengthen not just in the hip, but all the way through that side body. Good. All right, so we're just going to do a quick quad stretch as well. So we're going to stand tall. We did a little bit of rolling through the quads, so let's stretch them out real quick. Pull the heel in tight, and then do a little bit of kick your foot into your hand and hold, and just alternate that. It doesn't have to be for any certain length of time. I want you to try it, feel it, and then switch. Again, you know your body better than anybody else, and this is your chance to get to know it even a little bit better. Okay, so just about a little bit longer here, quad stretch. Then we're going to grab our ball again, continue massaging into our back and shoulders. Good. All right. So grab your ball again. Now, you're going to find the space, so I can see it here. This is, you'll feel those big ropey muscles on either side of your spine, right? That's your spinal extensors, right? So feel those, and then take them down to where you feel the top of your pelvis, right? So if you were a Lego person, imagine a 90-degree angle, right? Where the spine comes down, the top of the pelvis goes over, make that L. And I want you to just kind of find the spot that you can put the ball so they can just kind of nuzzle into those muscles, right? You have your spinal extensors going up and down, and then you have muscles going across, right? And kind of underneath those extensors a little bit, and you can kind of just go a little up, down, a little side, side, right? Usually we overwork these muscles for sure, right? Breathe. So underneath those extensors is a muscle called your QL, right? And the QL runs from your ribs down to your hips. It's a very, very touchy muscle. If you ever injure it, it's very, very, it's a rough road to get it to kind of calm down again. Okay, so you feel something kind of deeper in there. That might be your QL. If it's too much pressure, then just please back it off, okay? So we did kind of that ball just below, so this is my pelvis, right? We did the ball just below it. You can do a little bit of the ball just above it and see how that feels, right? So as you go in that horizontal pattern, you might get where that QL kind of connects into the pelvis a little bit. Again, if that's just too much, too painful, taking your breath away, go ahead and back it off, right? If you don't feel anything there, but you're finding more stuff there in that, right? That vertical line, and stay where you need to, right? And, right, switch sides. Switch between the sides however you need to. Okay? So we're going to spend a little bit of time in here. I want you to breathe. I want you to spend a little time here on that breath. Think about the breath not just going to the belly, right? The belly breath is great. Has great, a lot of benefits. But belly breath is easy because it's the path of least resistance for most of us, right? We can expand that belly pretty easily. It's the chest, the ribs, they tend to get locked down. So when they lock down, we lose that mobility through the middle of our spine. Okay? So can we think about not just filling the belly, but filling the lungs, expanding the ribs from side to side, front to back. And then can you breathe into that low back space a little bit? And then big exhale. Good. Let's take 30 more seconds here. Just finish up here in the low back, and we're going to work our way up, right, to the shoulder blades. Get that diaphragm working the way it should. All right. So move it up the chain, right? Bony landmark. As I move my arm, you can see my shoulder blade slide away and slide back in. Here's the bottom of it, right? You can feel it? I'm going to put the ball right there. And now I'm going to do a little, I'm going to lift up my arm so you can see. You don't have to lift yours. I'm going to do a little horizontal. And then I'm going to do, let me see if I can hear a little vertical. Okay? So horizontal and vertical. Almost an L, right? And I'm just allowing that ball to nuzzle up against my shoulder blade. Not rolling on the blade itself, but around it, right? And I've got in this space here. And yes, you can lift up your arm over your head. You can rest on top of your head. Whew, I got a good knot right here. So this is where my shoulder blade is, right? Pulse is below it. And see, I'm taking it not to the front, but pretty much right there on the side. Big lat muscle, right? Wraps around. It's really big. It's like a fan. Lots of spaces for little trigger points or adhesions to happen here. Go ahead and find it on the other side. I don't know if this is going to give you any better view. I don't think so. All right, so horizontal, vertical, moving in that space. Back to the side. So I'm lifting up my arm so you can kind of see where the ball is, but you might want to try lifting up your arm above your head and see if you can get into some different spaces here. So here I'm kind of between my shoulder blade and my spine, right? So those same spinal extensors that were down here, we've got them here, right? The extensors go all the way down your spine. So you've got them here too. Just let that ball kind of nuzzle into those tissues. Big inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Good. All right, so now I'm going to work the shoulder, right here in the back of the armpit. I'm going to put the ball right in there. I'm going to roll it around, so kind of like I'm doing a shoulder roll. I lift up my arm so you can kind of see where it is in there. And actually that gets into much more into my shoulder. Kind of trigger point just by picking my arm up over my head. So I'm just going to roll a little bit. Okay, so back of the shoulder and then also side of the shoulder. So here, I'm going to do some little rotational moves here. A little horizontal roll, a little vertical roll. And then just go ahead and switch. I'm going to do back of the shoulder. So you can kind of see it a little bit better here. I take that ball up. So see how it's kind of between my shoulder blade and my armpit. I don't know if you can see that there, but that's where that ball is right now. I'm going to do a little front to back, a little vertical up and down. Whew. Got a good trigger point on this side too. I'm going to hold and breathe. And then we go sideways on, right down the side. All right, last part, we're going to roll right here on the trapezius, right? So if you feel around, you have your collarbone in the front, and then that collarbone is on the back side too. So feel around for it, right? And then right above it, that muscle tissue, that's your trapezius. It's really, really tight. So I want you to find that bone, that collarbone, that's your shelf. You're going to put the ball right on that shelf, and you're going to roll from your shoulder in towards your neck, and just letting it nuzzle into that space. So notice I've got my chin kind of pulled in here. Imagine somebody's picking me up at the top of my head. And I roll back and forth. I've got a good knot right here, so I'm going to push and hold, and then I'm going to add movement, right? The easiest thing to do is move my head, but I'm going to do it very slow and controlled. You can do chin down, you can tilt ear to shoulder, right? And tilt other ear to shoulder. Just do some very slow, controlled movements of the head and as you're pinning anything there in that trapezius. Now you can also grab that same side arm, pull it down and across. That's really going to give you a nice stretch there. And go ahead and switch to the other side. I don't think this is going to help your view at all, but I'm going to stay here just so I give a little love to both sides up here. Right, oh, good, not here. So I'm going to just tip. Shoulder to chest, back up, ear to shoulder, back up, ear to other shoulder, back up, turning, right. Your head now, just very slow and controlled. All right. Now, I did say last one, but I forgot about, we want to do this front space here, okay? So we have our chest muscle that comes here and attaches in the shoulder. We want to find this space. So feel around for your fingers first. You should feel muscle tissue. We don't want to be on the bone of the shoulder. We want to be on that soft tissue in here on both sides. All right, so we're going to put the ball in that space and just kind of lean into it. And this is where if you have a brick or a book or something, it might help to kind of put the ball on that, and it just brings the ball out to you a little bit so your head isn't smushed quite so much into the wall. Okay? So I want that ball to be right in this space. I'm just kind of letting it move into those tissues and let my arm hang. See, I'm kind of rotating my arm open, my hand open, as I'm encouraging that shoulder to open here. Right, same thing on the other side. All right, so put both of those down. Let's grab either your towel or your strap, doesn't really matter. Okay, we've worked on the upper body. We want to continue that opening of the shoulders and activation in the back. So we're going to start with palms forward, thumbs out. Okay, one foot in front of the other, doesn't matter which one. Let's do a big shoulder roll and another. And I want you to think about shoulders, back and down, chin pulling to your chest. Pull that band apart and then wrap it against the front of your hips. And as you wrap it against the front of your hips, you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together. You see that? Okay. Now, I want to arch back like that. I want to actually press the hips forward and lengthen. So imagine you have a string on the top of your head, or even if you have like a ponytail, maybe give that ponytail a little lift up, right? So imagine somebody's picking you up by the top of your hair. What does your midsection do, right? You should feel a little bit of activation through there. Keep lengthening. We're not arching the back. We're squeezing the shoulder blades together. We're lengthening through the spine. Let's do 3 more breaths. Good. How's that feel? Okay. I want you to imagine that analogy of somebody kind of picking you up by the top of your hair, or you have a string, or somebody picking you up by the tops of your ears, any of that. And as you move through your day, think about that every so often. What happens through this space? Okay. Now let's take it to the back. So I'm holding behind, thumbs are now facing toward each other. We're going to do something similar, that we're going to staggered stance, pull the band apart, but instead of just going boom, right? I'm going to pull the band apart. See how my shoulder blades squeeze together. Now I'm going to reach my hands for the floor As I do that, same thing, I'm going to think about lifting the top of my head, tops of my ears to the ceiling. 3 breaths. And release. Let's roll the shoulders. That should feel good. Do some rolls. All right, let's finish down on the mat. All right, so we're going to come down on the mat, bring your strap with you. If you have a brick and you want to use it, come on down. All right, so we're actually going to start out on all fours. Right? We're going to come into child's pose. Now you can use your brick here, right behind. You can use it between your legs here. Anywhere that feels comfortable to you. And we're going to come forward into child's pose. Okay, so I want you to walk your fingers forward, let your head just fall down between your arms. You can bring your forehead to your mat. I'm going to keep my head lifted just so when I talk, you can hear me. But think about your tailbone reaching for your toes, your fingers reaching for the front of the mat. On your breath, you're thinking of that 360 breath and expanding that rib cage front to back, side to side, and taking breath into the low back as well. Good. Now let's take it into a little lateral reach here. So I'm going to take my left hand over to the left side of my mat. Take my right hand on top, interlace my fingers, and now I'm going to pull back, especially through my right hip. I'm going to actively press my right hip back and then reach my right hand forward on the diagonal. And feel that total right side of your body lengthen. Again, active stretching here, so think of those opposite angles. So I'm reaching forward, or opposite vectors, right? So I'm reaching forward with my hands, I'm reaching back with my hip. And let's do the other side, right? Reaching forward with my hands, reaching back with my hip. Opposition. Good. All right, let's flip it over onto our back. I'm going to finish up here around a little shorter time. So I'm going to give you a couple options here, right? And you can also do legs at the wall if you really find that works for you. If that feels yummy to you, go ahead and do legs at the wall. I'll give you a couple options here as well. One is that pillow or that brick right here between your legs. And you're in basically a glute bridge position. And I want you to think about that big 360 breath. And then on the exhale, think about everything kind of coming back towards your center. And as you exhale, pulling everything back towards your center, I want you to give that brick a little squeeze. Or pillow, whatever you have. Right? And then on the inhale, release the squeeze. Think about that 360 breath, front to back, side to side, belly full. And then exhale. Everybody back to center. Squeeze the brick as you come in. I know that for whatever position, if you have a brick or a pillow or a brick or books, whatever you have, put it there, supporting your pelvis. Arms out. Focus on the breath. Exhale everything back to your center. Feeling that pelvic floor. Think about it pulling up towards the center of your torso. And I encourage you to stay in whatever space you are right now that feels good to you. Spend some time in your breath, some time with your body, and take this time for yourself. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day and rest of the week. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.